welcome to Boardgames with Niramas. I'm Joseph or Niramas and I'm here today with Racco. And it's time for us to continue this top 100 games of all time list. It's really fun to do. Hope you enjoyed as well. We did a episode last week where we started off with the first 10 and now we're going to continue here 90 to 81. So let's get going and start off with number 90. So, number 90 is Saya, Legends of the Drift System. As you can see here, I'm playing with Max. It's actually Draco learning the game from Max, my friend. And yeah, it's Draco learns the game. He is being taught here step by step how to do it, as well as the viewers, of course. You can go check it out if you haven't already. All these videos, of course, are on the channel, as you can see. In Saya, we are in space, we are exploring, we are picking up and delivering, we're fighting with, bandits or even with the sheriff of the space in case we are the bandits. We can smuggle goods, it's a sandbox game, so we can do anything we want, sort of, to get points, to get like fame. And whoever gets to a certain amount of fame is the winner. We travel around, like you can see here. We can go into asteroid fields and start mining for resources and then sell those resources at a space station and so on. There's a lot going on in this game. It's really fun. I love how it looks. It's really thematic. I love these little ships and the space tiles. When you explore, you put up more of these space tiles. So Saya is something I do want to play more, and it's really fun, and it had to be on my list. And at 89 we have Civilization A New Dawn. This is the sort of follow-up to Civilization, the board game that came out 2010. This one is a lot smaller though. They sort of advertised this as a Civilization, the board game, in 90 minutes, which sounded really weird if some didn't sound realistic, but it is sort of is, because they have streamlined a lot of things. They have removed the sort of military. It's turned it into an abstract control over the map. Really enjoy this game. I think it's really good, and it has some really interesting card mechanisms where, as you can see here with the card, you have the 5 cards, the 5 different actions you can do depending on where they are in your row of cards. They are stronger or weaker depending on which position they are in. And it's really nice because, like, when you do the card that is in the position 5, it's going to be really strong, right? But then you move the card over to position 1, so it circles around, and so that one is now really weak. But the one that was in the 4 slot becomes in the 5 slot and so on. So you need to plan out in which order you do these actions, and a lot of them are also related to the map. So if you want to move around the map or you want to spread your control, depending on the type of terrain around your city or around your control area, you need to get to a certain number of strength in order to be able to expand your empire. And you also have these goals to go to. You need to build a certain amount of wonders. There's different ways to go in order to win. And yeah, I really enjoy this one. I think the components look awesome. From Fantasy Flight, really good stuff. Civilization A New Dawn. Next up we have Pandemic Fall of Rome. This is my favorite way of playing Pandemic, maybe except for the legacy games, of course. But in this one, you're not fighting diseases, which I always thought was a bit of a boring subject or theme in a game, to go around fighting diseases. But in this one, you're defending Rome against these barbarian tribes trying to, plunder and sack Rome. So you have the different tribes out here represented by different color cubes, and they're going to move closer and closer to Rome. You need to use your legionnaires and go around and fight them, which is a bit different from the average Pandemic games. Most of the other ones are just like going around clearing the cubes, but here the cubes sort of move around, which is something new that I do really enjoy. I haven't completed this game so far. It's really hard. Right here you can see me playing it in a live stream in a solo mode. But I did play it with friends a few times as well. I really enjoy it. Pandemic Fall of Rome, it came out like last year or 2 years ago. Really enjoy this one. I think if you like Pandemic and you want to take it sort of to the next step and have some new fresh take on the Pandemic formula, this is the way to go. Pandemic Fall of Rome. At number 87 we have Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra. This is the sort of second part in the what to be or obviously are at this stage Azul series, because there's the third one just came out as well. So in Azul Stained Glass of Sintra, it's Azul, but it has some nice takes on Azul. Not some nice. First of all, I think it looks a lot better. I'm one of those people that weren't a big fan of how Azul looked. I know a lot of people loved the look of Azul. They thought it was so beautiful, but this one for me is a lot, you know, prettier with the whole glass pieces. Well, it's plastic, but you know what I mean. And it also has a small little change, but it really makes a difference for the game. In Azul, you could sort of figure out ahead, especially in a two-player game, you could figure out if I take this, then you have to take that, and I could take this, and so on and so on. In this one, not that much, because in this one you have an action of actually moving your little guy, your little, you know, glassmaker, whatever it is, moving him back to the start. To pass, that's an action, and you need to do that action at some points because he will just keep heading to the right, and at some point you need to bring him back. But you can also bring him back as in action to pass, to force the next player to do a bad action, to take, you know, a lot of one color that they can't fit, or maybe you can't fit it either, but now you can force them to do that by doing the pause action and putting your little glass guy all the way back to the start. Really good game. I really enjoy this a lot, playing it with friends and so on. And as here I'm playing with Draco, you can go check out the run through, of course. Azul Stained Glass of Sintra. Then we have Oracle of Delphi. This is a game from Stefan Feld, one of my favorite designers. And in this one, it's a bit, you know, it's a bit different from his most of his designs, because this is sort of a race game, in the sense that you don't win by, you know, getting the most score. There's no score to keep track of, which is fun. In this one, you win by being the first one to complete a number of goals, a number of quests and challenges, and you go back to Zeus, and you're proving that you were the first one to do these great deeds and become the great Greek hero in the mythology. And there's a lot of fun stuff going on here with the dice. The dice move around in a circle, as you can see here. When you roll the dice on your turn, it's a little bit like Castle Burgundy inspired, but so when you roll the dice, you get a certain amount of, you know, colors that you can do different actions with. And you can also manipulate the dice, of course. And here you can see a little bit of the board there, where you actually travel around with your little ship to get to certain islands, pick up statues, deliver them. You need to beat monsters. Yeah, it's so different from a lot of these Euro-style games, but it still has the same feel, the same planning ahead and having a strategy and seeing where you can go, in which order you're going to do things. Really enjoy it. It has such a lot of fun stuff going for it. You can get special actions, special abilities by, you know, getting your certain helpers on your side or certain gods that help you out. And yeah, Oracle of Delphi, I really enjoy this one. And now let's head to the next. And at 85, back to a bit of a more classic Euro in a sense. Valletta is a gathering resources in order to build buildings. You do this a really fun way by having a sort of deck building, or it is deck building, but it's really slow deck building. You have your little deck of cards with actions that you can do. You choose 3 of them to do on each turn, and then you discard those cards, and then when the discard pile is full, you shuffle those cards and you get them back. You can also get some new cards in there, but you do that when you build a building, because you pick up resources by doing different actions, and you use those resources in order to build buildings. And you want to please whatever he's called, like the build master of the mayor of Valletta. So you need to build those buildings in columns where he can see you build a building, because he will move, and you control when he moves as well. So he's moving out here, and you're building these buildings in these rows and columns, and you're trying also to get like a discount if you build next to another building that you already built. So you need to sort of set that up. And as you build new buildings, you also get new cards into your deck. So you get a card each time. Like if you build the wood storage log, the wood log storage or whatever, then you get the wood cutter into your deck, and you can, you know, become better at gathering wood as a resource, and then you can build more buildings. And you score points that way, and you get some bonuses from these little barrels out here that you will jump over at times as well. Really fun game. It's like an hour or a little bit like 90 minutes. Very easy going, but there's a lot of strategy involved as well, and I do enjoy it. So Valletta, that's my number 85. At 84, we have a real classic in board games, and some of you might be surprised that it's on my list. It wasn't last year, actually. It was like lower, it was like 150 or something, but it moved up a lot, simply because I played it a bunch, and I really enjoy it. Carcassonne, a really old classic board game. This is one of the first board games I played, or modern board games, sort of, as an adult. And I really enjoy it. This is the video here with my run through. It's fairly old, but it is with my big box, one of those big boxes. So we have those little, some expansions like the one in the middle there with the pig and the wheel and all that. I'm not sure that I, enjoy all the expansions, and I don't really want to play with all of them at the same time either, because that's like a full night of Carcassonne. But just a base game with a few expansions. I like the river, I like the, innocent cathedrals, whatever the one is called with the little carpenter, that's good as well. So you can do double turns. Really enjoy this. Played it a bunch on like Android or on an iPad. I don't recall which one of those two. Anyway, played it a bunch in a digital way as well. Last year when we went to Spiel and we were in a car for 12 hours, we played this a bunch against each other and just taking turns, doing our turns. Yeah, it's such a good design. And, it's such a fun game. There's so much, tactical strategy thinking going on. You can be really mean to each other. You can really block each other out and so on. Steal, the cities and all that from each other. So Carcassonne is a really fun game, and it has to be in my top 100 because it's one of those games that I think I will always return to. I don't mind like playing Carcassonne once or twice a year. Yeah, it's just fun. And then we're into a game that I haven't filmed really. I did unboxings, but I haven't filmed a gameplay video of Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. I should do that at some point. It's really, it's a good format for actually making a video because it's so thematic, and you have the app, it's app driven, so you have the app on or you have like Steam, or you have an Android or an iOS tablet or whatever, and the app will guide you sort of so that this adventure that you go on, and it's the whole Cthulhu monsters and all that, and it's really fun. It's really exciting with the whole, you open the door and you don't know what's going to happen, and then the app tells you, okay, now you're going to put out this tile, and all of a sudden, okay, you went out to this this room or that room or the corridor, and the monsters spawn and they come after you, and it's like puzzles you need to solve, and it's like a timer ticking, and that's the reason maybe why there's another game in the same style that is higher up on my list, is because this one, you don't have visible timers. You don't know how much time you have. You always have this stress that you need to keep pushing, because if you don't do things fast enough, then bad stuff will spawn, bad stuff will happen, you might lose, and it's really hard as well. But I enjoyed it a lot. I played like all the base scenarios solo. Had such a good time with it, and I played it with friends as well, and it's a blast. Mansion of Madness 2nd edition, really enjoy this one. And here we have a new one from 2018, Skylands, from Queen Games. This came out at Spiel last year, and I didn't expect much of it at all. I wasn't prepared for it being that good as it is. I was like, yeah, sure, we can try this. A friend picked it up and all that, but it's really, really good. It's so cool. So I'm going to show you some pictures here. It has this like Puerto Rico mechanic, for lack of a better word. So like I pick an action and then everybody does that action, but I get to do it a little bit better than everyone else. And it's a tile layer where you put out tiles on your little board, and you're trying to build these islands in the sky, and you do actions to amass your people there. And as you have your people there, then they can, score you points, and they can do different kinds of things. And it looks beautiful. It has really fun gameplay, and yeah, it really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I do want to play it again as well. So Skylands had to be on my top 100. So it's one of those new ones that just jumped into the list from nowhere. So here we go, Skylands. And at 81, we're going to end here today with a, well, I guess sort of classic board game it has become. It's Forbidden Desert. Forbidden Desert is sort of a pandemic style game. It's a cooperative game. It's really cool. You land in a desert, or you crash in a desert with your little flying machine, and it's all broken into pieces and scattered across the desert. So you need to go around and find those pieces and amass assemble the aircraft again so you can fly out of there. But the problem is there's a sandstorm coming. So as you can see here, these tiles, they get flooded with more and more sand, and you need to get rid of that sand so you can go digging for those items. And you can also find some treasure. You move around here. There's a lot of interesting things going on, because the storm, which are represented by the empty space, as you can see here in this grid, there's one empty space that moves around every turn, which means that, and everywhere it moves, it amasses more sand. And so the the map changes as you go. You have to adapt to how the storm is moving around and how the map changes, and move your little pawns around and trying to get out of there before it's too late. Really hard. You also need to take care of the sun. The sun is, you know, beating down on you, so you need to find some shelter in some caves or some, you know, having some items you can use to protect yourself. This game is so good. I really enjoyed it a lot. This is from a live stream I did where I really had to fight to stay alive. I don't even recall if I won or not. You can go check that out. But I really had fun with this one, and I can really recommend it. It's one of those games that I recommend to sort of new players in the hobby, but I do enjoy it a lot myself as well. Forbidden Desert. And now let's end this video for now. We'll be back next week with another 10, and you know, as we keep climbing here, we're getting closer and closer to the top. It's going to get more and more exciting because the games get better and better, basically, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Tell me in the comment section, what's your opinion? Down here is the comment section. You can write a comment and just say hi or whatever. It's always fun, but also tell me what do you think of my picks. Have you played these games? Are you curious to play them? Let me know, and you know, don't forget to like the video as well. Press the like button down here. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and press the little bell symbol down there, because then you will get notification from YouTube when I post new videos, so you can keep track of what's happening on Board Games with Niramas. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening or morning whenever you're watching. Take care. Bye bye.
Breathe in. Look into these eyes. Subscribe to the channel. Now, exhale.